are some situations where you can look at a team and say this is a failure. But this isn't, because this is just the beginning of something for the Phoenix Suns. You got to understand, you're going to pay that ransom for a guy like Kevin Durant, and it gutted the team. But you're going to do that to get a player like Kevin Durant. And you know that this isn't a one-year deal. This isn't all right, we're going to go for it and we lose him at the end of this season. You've got him for the next 4 years. You still have him under contract, and he's still clearly, by the way he's played, in his prime and one of the great scorers that you have. He and Devin Booker together are one of the most lethal duos we've seen in the playoffs in a long time. But what they were doing, Monica, was not sustainable, because they were at one point averaging almost 70 points a game.
32 points with 10 rebounds. And we talk about the assist with Jokic. 4 minutes left in the second. Nuggets up 19 to Jamal Murray. Nails it. 12 assists for the big man. Early in the fourth, it's blowout time. And Jokic to Bruce Brown. Easy money. Fifth triple-double in the postseason, tied for the fourth most in history. And the Nuggets cruise to a 25-point win. And for the Suns and KD, all burnt up.
Yeah, it sucked. It was a bad feeling. It was embarrassing. They came out and hit us in the mouth. We couldn't recover. You got to give them credit for being a disciplined team.
Give them credit for being a disciplined team, but also, Alan, the Suns. I mean, this season's a failure for them, right?
No.
This team looks like over the course of the regular season, because KD had the luxury of basically coming in off of what the previous team had done in terms of the standings and allowing them to get the position that they did get in the postseason. But I don't think this is a failure at all. I do think, though, and we're seeing it throughout the course of the playoffs, the role of defense in terms of winning, we should not forget how important that is, because arguably, if those two guys were two of your best two-way guys, maybe you have a chance in terms of the defensive fortitude that the Suns could put up. But overall, the Nuggets are the number one seed for a reason. They have the depth, and they have a two-time MVP over there. So this is not a bad loss. This is the number one seed you went out to.
With no one else really kicking in. And what we've talked about in the playoffs, a good playoff team, is depth. So to me, the pressure now is on James Jones, the general manager, Matt Ishbia, and this franchise to now try to use these two magnets that you have to attract players to come to Phoenix, which is a pretty attractive place to go in the winter, and try to build a championship team that then next year should be the favorite to win. And if they don't next year, then we can start using that F word.
If I were with you right now, I'd give you a high five and say retweet, Han, because I completely agree. I believe I'm fairly confident we're talking about less than 25 games with KD on the floor for this Phoenix Suns squad. And so this is basically the promise of tomorrow.
I have to say I don't agree, because KD's pushing 35. You got Chris Paul's injury history. You got Ayton up and down. I mean, this is a team that doesn't have a lot of time. We're going to
explain it. It doesn't make any sense. I can explain it as best I can just saying this. You've got three guys leading a team that struggle to close the deal. And that, of course, since Doc Rivers won a championship with Boston, that has been his record now, 17-34 in attempts to close out a series. That's not a great record. So we start there, because your coach has got to recognize that your best player is not getting the ball. Let's also talk about Joel Embiid, who can't get over the hump of the second round. They say a big man, put your forearm in the chest of Time Lord and say, give me the damn ball. He's got to do that, demand the ball. And then there's James Harden. Get a point guard, man. How do you not recognize that your best player is not getting the basketball to close out this game, to finish the job? The knockout punch never came, and now you've got to play a Game 7 with three guys who clearly don't know how to win.
Yeah, and you know what? Being from Philly, we're used to epic collapses, but this, especially seeing Embiid saying, I didn't get the ball, I'm expecting him to yell and scream and be upset. Monica, the Philly only scores 13 points in the fourth. How big of a meltdown was this for Embiid and the Sixers?
Ryan, I feel for you on this Friday morning.
You heard what Monica just said, right? The self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, things don't work out for us. Woe is me. That's called emo mode. We go emo. We hide in the room.
Oh, my gosh.
Things aren't going well for us today. And then all of a sudden there's Jason Tatum, who's, he doesn't feel like playing. But now you're sitting at the kitchen table. Oh, you're coming down? You're coming down to talk to us? You're going to spend time with us now? You're happy right now?
Let's
enjoy this moment
What's
while
happening?
we can. Like, this is what a parent is like when you have teenage kids. And if you're asking me to say who's going to win Game 7, I don't know, because I don't know what mood you're going to be in when you wake up tomorrow. So I'm just going to wake up and hope you're happy today. And if you're a Celtics fan or a Sixers fan, This is what it's like.
To hear Doris Burke give Doc Rivers a ton of credit for the biggest adjustment having nothing to do with basketball, and that being instilling belief and confidence in this Sixers squad. And then you saw Jason Tatum hit a basket, and the match was causing the fire to be lit for the Celtics. And so you saw Philly basically have one of those negative self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Oh, here we go again. Something always happens to us. And instead of fighting that, it almost felt that they just acquiesced and allowed it to happen. And the Celtics, of course, leaned into the power that Jason Tatum brought into the fourth quarter and showed that they were a team that had previously been to the finals. And so it was really a disappointing kind of meltdown for Philly. But I would give the Celtics a ton of credit.
Yeah, but I can't stop thinking about Philly.
How can you not?
I know.
First of all, this series is like having teenagers, and I have this experience.
Just a little bit. I will say that in my teenage years, in my household, it was don't come downstairs unless you got yourself together. You can figure it out upstairs because we pay the bills around here. And therefore, I do think right now that is sort of the way that maybe Joe Mazzulla has the opportunity to parent if we stick with this analogy, right? Like the Celtics have now shot themselves in the foot late in game twice. They've also been terrific late in game now in a big sort of momentum swing as they head back to Boston for this ball game. I think that Jason Tatum being able to navigate what has to be one of the worst halves of his career in the last 4 seasons or so was huge. It was huge. The way they were able to defend the Sixers. This is a team that not only believes they can do it, they have done it. They have gotten past this point. And so right now, as far as momentum goes or having an edge, it feels like the Celtics have the edge and it's all up here.
Yeah, and here's the problem for Sixers fans, by the way, like me. The Sixers haven't believed they could do it.
Right.
And that's the problem.
And that's all the Celtics
How are they going to
needed.
get it done?
That's all the Celtics needed.
Yeah.
And I really feel this way when you're watching this game. Yes, the Celtics had to lead the whole way, but that push in the third quarter, and I was texting with Tim Legler. Legs and I were going back and forth. You know, Legs obviously knows the Sixers very well. And we were both feeling that this game is turning. It's turning in the favor. That's the part. You leave the door open. And that's a dangerous thing when you have superstars like Jason Tatum, who have been nothing all game. It just takes one shot. You know, like an NBA Jam, you 3 straight baskets. He's on fire, right? For a guy like Jason Tatum, for stars, one shot, they're on fire. They believe it. And that corner 3, contested corner 3 he made, he's on fire at that point. All the Celtics needed was to leave that door open for them, and they walked right through it and forced the game shut.
And Monica, it makes me...
To the sound from Doc Rivers early in the series. Do you expect this to be easy? It's not going to be easy. And so, for whatever reason, you can't pat yourself on the back until the mission is completely accomplished. Now, I'm with you, Ryan, as far as who's responsible for this. I'm really now sitting and evaluating what I've observed as far as the Sixers' personalities. Because there's no way your MVP doesn't call for the basketball. I'm with you, Han, right? Like, give me the ball. I've been having a successful game. What are we doing, right? Somebody on that squad, and I don't think it's Doc Rivers, has to say, we're not going out like that.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, and that's what it comes down to with this team.
Your stars.
There's his teammates trying to pump him up on the sidelines. He talked about how he always believed he could do something, and he got it done. Monica, what did you think?
Well, the other part of this, Ryan and Han, to me, is the very fundamental things we learn about basketball when we first fall in love with it in elementary school, right? Basketball is a game of runs. And you give the Sixers a ton of credit as we look at what Jason Tatum was able to do in the fourth quarter. You give them a ton of credit for overcoming 16-point deficits, not once, but 2 times in the course of this ballgame. But it felt as if they thought that they had done.
It's not a failure. No, and I'm not going to do the Giannis thing because I